is a time when the world is silent, when the distractions are hushed, when the noise of life fades into stillness. Between 3 and 5 a.m., this is the hour of warriors, the hour of seekers, the hour when heaven listens closely. While the world sleeps, the strong rise. While others dream in their beds, champions fight their battles on their knees. The greatest victories are not won in the daylight, but in the darkness, when no one is watching, when no one is listening, but God. Some of the most powerful people in history understood this. Martin Luther King Jr. prayed in the early hours, seeking strength before standing against the tide of hatred. Mother Teresa whispered her prayers before dawn, asking for the courage to touch the untouchable. Even Jesus himself, before facing the cross, withdrew to the quiet of the night and prayed in agony until his sweat became like drops of blood. Why? Because there is power in the early hours. The body is weak, the mind is vulnerable, but the spirit is awake. That is when you hear him the clearest. That is when heaven moves. Some of you are carrying burdens too heavy for the daylight. You smile in front of people, but inside you are breaking. You fight battles that no one knows about. You're tired, you're weary, and sometimes you wonder if you have the strength to go on. But let me tell you something. There is a place where strength is renewed. There is a place where chains break, where fears die, where the impossible becomes possible. And that place is found between 3 and 5 a.m. when you drop to your knees, lift your hands and say, God, I can't do this alone. You don't need the perfect words. You don't need a long prayer. Sometimes all you need is a whisper. Help me, and he will. Some of you are asking, why isn't my life changing? Why do I feel stuck? Have you ever woken up before the sun and called upon the one who created it? Have you ever fought for your destiny when the world was asleep? Success is not found in wishful thinking. It is birthed in the secret hours, in the unseen moments when you choose to pray instead of sleep, to seek instead of surrender. Do you think champions are made on the stage? No, they are made in the quiet places, when no one is looking, when the fight is real and the only audience is God. So tonight, set your alarm. Get up when it's hard. When your body says no, let your spirit say yes. Get on your knees, cry out, and watch what happens. Because I promise you, when you pray between 3 and 5 a.m., heaven moves, mountains crumble, and the impossible becomes your reality. There is a sacred window of time, a moment when the world is hushed and the universe seems to stand still. Between 3 and 5 a.m., the streets are empty, the noise of life is silenced, and everything that distracts and pulls at your soul fades into the background. It is in this stillness that something powerful happens. It is in this quiet that heaven listens most closely. When the world is asleep, the spiritual realm is awake. This is the hour when destinies are rewritten, when breakthroughs are birthed, when those who dare to rise are met with a presence greater than themselves. It is the hour of deep reflection, of raw honesty, of pure connection. There are no performances here, no masks to wear, no distractions to steal your focus. It is just you and the Creator, face to face, heart to heart. This is the time when burdens that feel too heavy in the daylight can be laid down in the darkness. The weight of your struggles, the fears that keep you up at night, the dreams that feel too distant to reach, all of them are seen, heard, and acknowledged in these sacred hours. When you pray in this time, you are not just speaking words into the air. You are tapping into a power far beyond your own. There is something unexplainable about these hours. It is the time when revelation flows freely, when the whisper of God is clearer, when the distractions of the world no longer drown out the voice that has been calling you all along. Those who have woken up in these moments, those who have fallen to their knees in surrender, know the truth. This is where true transformation begins. It is not easy. Your body will resist. Your mind will tell you that sleep is more important. But if you push past the comfort, if you wake up before the sun and pour your heart out in prayer, you will experience something few ever do. You will touch the divine in a way that no daylight prayer can match. There is a reason why some of the greatest minds and spiritual leaders have sought these hours. Because when the world is silent, heaven speaks the loudest. In the quiet hours before dawn, when the world is still, some of the greatest figures in history sought strength, guidance, and courage through prayer. These were not ordinary people. They were warriors of faith, leaders who faced impossible odds, and servants who carried the burdens of the broken. They understood something profound. When you bow in prayer before the world awakens, you rise with a power that nothing can shake. Martin Luther King Jr., a man who stood against the storm of hatred and injustice, did not fight with weapons or anger. He fought on his knees. In the darkness of early mornings, he prayed for strength before standing before crowds, before marching through streets filled with opposition, before facing threats that could have silenced any ordinary man. He knew that without seeking God first, he could never stand firm in the battle ahead. His speeches moved millions, but it was his prayers in secret that made him unshakable. Mother Teresa, the woman who touched the untouchable, did not wake up seeking comfort. While the world lay in sleep, she woke before dawn, whispering prayers for the forgotten, the dying, the unloved. She did not have riches, she did not have power in the eyes of the world, but what she had was something greater, an unwavering faith that was fueled by her time in prayer. Her strength to love the unloved, to comfort those whom society rejected, did not come from herself. It came from the quiet conversations she had with God before the world opened its eyes.
Think about the last time someone questioned your ability, dismissed your dreams, or tried to make you feel small. The temptation to argue, to defend yourself, to prove them wrong in the moment is strong, but words will never silence those who thrive on doubt. If anything, engaging with them only gives them more power over your emotions. The real way to silence them is to achieve so much that their opinions become laughable. Imagine reaching a level where the very people who once doubted you now wish they had supported you. That is the power of results. This mindset is what separates the ordinary from the extraordinary. Most people spend their energy trying to be understood, trying to win arguments, trying to prove themselves to people who will never matter in the long run. But the highest achievers understand that every second spent explaining is a second taken away from building. They choose progress over approval, results over recognition, and success over validation. When you commit to this mindset, you become unstoppable. The noise fades, the critics lose relevance, and the same people who once doubted you are forced to acknowledge what they can no longer deny. Not because you convinced them, but because your success spoke for itself. That is the ultimate power. When you stop feeding the fire, it burns out. Conflict, negativity, and ego-driven battles only persist because they are fueled by reaction. The moment you stop engaging, stop justifying, stop giving your energy to meaningless disputes, the entire game changes. Those who seek to manipulate, control, or provoke you rely on your response to keep their power intact. Without it, their influence fades. Their ego, once inflated by the expectation of your reaction, crumbles under its own weight. Human nature thrives on cause and effect. When someone attacks you verbally, criticizes you unfairly, or tries to pull you into an argument, they are looking for a reaction. They want to see you flinch, get defensive, or lose your composure. They are not interested in truth or resolution. They are interested in control. The more you fight back, the more you fuel their fire. But what happens when you refuse to engage? What happens when you remain completely unbothered? The fire they set withers and dies because it has nothing left to consume. Think of an argument that started small but escalated because both sides kept pushing. Words were exchanged, emotions ran high, and before long the original issue didn't even matter anymore. The only thing keeping the battle alive was ego, the need to be right, to be heard, to be validated. But imagine if one side had simply chosen not to engage. The energy of the fight would have disappeared. This is not about being weak or avoiding conflict when necessary. It is about understanding that not every battle is worth your time. Some fires only survive because you keep throwing wood into them. This is how the most powerful people maintain their strength. They do not let small-minded individuals dictate their emotions. They do not feel the need to respond to every insult or prove themselves to those who are committed to misunderstanding them. They know that real power is in restraint, in the ability to walk away while others desperately seek attention. They stay focused on their goals, while the ones who seek conflict are left with nothing but their own frustration. Mastering this is not just about silence, it's about control. The ability to choose where your energy goes, to refuse to be manipulated by those who crave your reaction, is a superpower. The moment you stop feeding their fire, it dies. Not because they stop trying, but because you stop giving them the fuel to keep it burning. True power is not found in reacting, proving, or engaging in every battle. It is found in restraint, focus, and mastery over your own energy. When you stop feeding egos, they crumble. When you stop explaining yourself, you rise above. When you refuse to be controlled by emotions, you become untouchable. The greatest victories are not won through words, but through action. The most powerful responses are not given in arguments, but in undeniable success. Every moment spent justifying yourself to those who refuse to see your worth is a moment stolen from your progress. Every reaction given to someone seeking to provoke you is a transfer of power. The most influential people in history, the ones who have shaped industries, redefined limits, and left lasting legacies, did not waste their energy on critics, doubters, or manipulators. They stayed focused on their vision, letting their results silence the noise. When you master this mindset, you step into a league of your own. You no longer shrink to fit the expectations of others. You no longer allow negativity to dictate your actions. You move with confidence, knowing that your success will be the only response you ever need. And as you continue to grow, to evolve, to achieve, you realize the ultimate truth. Your energy is your most valuable asset. Protect it, channel it, and use it to build something so undeniable that no amount of doubt, criticism, or provocation can shake you. That is the essence of true power. That is how you become unstoppable.
Nothing shifts until you decide to shift. If you truly want to change, if you truly want to break the cycles holding you back, you must be willing to do what most will never do. You must wait before the world, step into the silence, and seek with everything in you. Because those who chase after their purpose in the early hours are the ones who will hold it in their hands in the daylight. Success, peace, clarity, strength, none of these come by accident. They come when you choose to rise while others sleep. When you decide that the desire for change is greater than the desire for comfort. The unseen moments define the seen ones. What you do when no one is watching will determine what happens when everyone is. Champions are not born in the spotlight. They are not made in the moments of applause, in the roar of the crowd, or in the recognition of their success. No, champions are forged in the unseen hours, in the quiet places, when no one is watching, when no one is cheering, when no one even knows the battle they are fighting. They are made in the moments when sleep calls, when comfort tempts, when the body begs for rest, but the spirit refuses to quit. It is easy to admire those who have reached greatness. It is easy to look at their victories, their influence, their strength, and wish to have what they have. But what most people fail to see is what came before the success: the early mornings, the late nights, the sacrifices that no one clapped for, the prayers that no one heard, the battles fought in silence, in secret, in the darkness before the dawn. Every great leader, every powerful warrior, every unshakable soul has had moments when they had to choose between comfort and calling, between ease and effort, between staying in bed and rising before the sun. And without fail, those who chose to rise, to seek to fight in the hidden hours, became the ones who stood the tallest in the light. The stage does not create champions. It only reveals them. The real work, the real strength, the real transformation happens in the hours when no one else is looking. It takes a different kind of discipline to wake before the world. It takes an uncommon hunger to chase after purpose when others are resting. It takes a heart that is unwilling to settle, a soul that refuses to stay the same, a mind that understands that true power is given to those who seek it in the stillness. The difference between those who succeed and those who wish is found in these moments: the unseen, the uncelebrated, the unnoticed. Some believe that prayer has to be eloquent, long, or perfectly worded to be heard. They think they need to come with grand speeches, flawless phrases, or deep theological understanding to reach the ears of God. But the greatest prayers ever spoken were not polished. They were raw, desperate, whispered through tears, uttered in pain, and released in faith. There is power in simplicity. There is power in the prayer that comes from the deepest part of you, the part that doesn't have the strength for long sentences, the part that is tired, broken, and in need of something greater than itself. Sometimes all it takes is a whisper: "Help me." 3 simple words, but they shake heaven. 3 simple words, but they move mountains. Because when you pray like that, you are not performing, you are surrendering. You are admitting that you don't have all the answers, that you don't have all the strength, that you can't do it on your own. And that kind of prayer, the honest, unfiltered, desperate kind, is the kind that God hears the loudest. The world teaches us to be self-sufficient, to act like we have everything under control, to wear a mask that hides the struggle beneath the surface. But there comes a time when the weight is too much, when the burden is too heavy, when pretending to be strong no longer works. And in those moments, the greatest thing you can do is let go of the act, strip away the pride, and simply say, "God, I need you." In the stillness of the early hours, when your soul is weary and your mind is restless, that small whisper carries more power than the loudest cry, because it is real, it is pure, it is the moment when you stop trying to fix everything yourself and place it in the hands of the one who can. Miracles are not always preceded by grand speeches. Chains do not always break after long, drawn-out prayers. Sometimes it is the quietest plea, spoken in the most broken state, that brings the greatest breakthrough. Because God is not listening for perfection, He is listening for surrender. And when you whisper, "Help me," He does. Not always in the way you expect, not always instantly, but always in the way that is best. Because He hears, He sees, and He moves. There is a reason why the world's greatest leaders, visionaries, and warriors understood the power of prayer before dawn. It is not about superstition, it is about alignment. It is about putting the most important thing first, about making sure that before you take on the day, you are filled with something greater than yourself. Those who wake up in the unseen hours to seek God do not just hope for change, they create. They do not just wish for miracles, they prepare for them. And when the time comes, when others wonder why doors open for them, why obstacles crumble before them, the answer is simple. They fought for it in the moments no one saw, and now the world is witnessing the results. The greatest transformations, the deepest breakthroughs, and the most unshakable strength are not found in comfort, nor are they given to those who simply wish for them. They are forged in the unseen hours, in the quiet moments when the world sleeps, in the prayers whispered between 3 and 5 a.m. This is the hour when heaven listens, when destinies are rewritten, when those who dare to rise before the sun touch the power that others never reach. History has shown us that the strongest warriors, the most influential leaders, and the most unbreakable souls were not made in the spotlight, but in the stillness of early morning prayer. They were the ones who sought before striving, who surrendered before stepping forward, who prayed when others slept. They understood that true power is not found in human effort alone, but in alignment with the divine.
If you want real change, if you seek unshakable faith, if you desire a life of purpose and breakthroughs, you must be willing to do what few will do. You must wake when it is difficult, seek when it is inconvenient, and pray when no one is watching, because the battles won in the unseen moments will define the victories the world will one day see. The difference between those who simply exist and those who rise to greatness is found in the choices made before the world awakens. Champions are not made in the light. They are made in the hidden, in the quiet, in the moments when only God is watching.